Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
We're at one of the most famous golf courses in the Midwest, the Bear. It's at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. It was designed by Jack Nicklaus, and we're with Paul Galligan, who's been here before the Bear. In fact, you were here at the beginning of all the golf at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. Tell us a little bit about how you got started actually at the Acme Municipal Course.
It was the Acme Golf Course. It was a public golf course, and as a teenager, late grade school, middle school, my family had a membership at the golf course, and we would just come and play the 9-hole golf course and have a good time, and that's kind of how I got started right here at the Grand Traverse Resort and Spa, was as a golfing member in my school years.
You played first and worked later.
I played first and I did work later, that's correct.
And that was the course that eventually was expanded into 18 holes, and Bill Newcombe came along and helped out with that somehow?
Yes, that's correct. I started working on the golf course in the summer of 1979, and when I came back after my second year of college, there was plans to redesign the golf course and get 18 holes altogether. And yes, William Newcombe was the main designer in the majority of the reconstruction of the original Spruce Run golf course.
And somewhere along the line, there came a hotel and the Grand Traverse Resort name, and that was when there was still just the one Spruce Run course?
I think so. The original hotel was built, I think, in like 1980, because when I started in 79, they were doing the construction on the hotel. And then, so I'm thinking in the spring of 1980, it opened up. I believe it opened up as a Hilton franchise. I'm not real sure that's how it opened exactly. I know the Hilton was part of the name at one time. And so yeah, the golf course was here, the hotel came, and after that, everything else.
So as the Bear's being built, you were watching it. You were building your career. So what are some of the things you did when the Bear was being built?
Well, during the construction of the Bear, I was a crew member on the resort course, which we now have named Spruce Run a long time ago, but we always known it as a resort course. Okay. And so our maintenance facility was right nearby. You could see construction going on. We weren't necessarily allowed out there during construction, and it was more the following year, once the irrigation got put in and they started growing the grass, that they allowed the maintenance crew to come out and take over those holes once they were released to the maintenance staff. Now at that time, I was still an hourly staff member on the golf course, and if we had to fix a washout, we went and fixed washouts. We'd load up straw bales on the back of a cart and put them out. Take hand water hoses out into the rough to water the rough. We'd help out with the putting sand in bunkers and stuff like that.
Did you ever have a chance to meet Jack Nicklaus himself?
I never, kind of, sort of. At one of his first visits, I know he played number 1. I was on number 2 tee, and he hit his tee shot, and he was walking towards the fairway. So I kind of jutted out there into his path, and I said, "Mr. Nicklaus, it's great to meet you. My name is Paul. Thanks for being here." So
that's meeting him. That's fair.
That is meeting him. That's right.
So over time, the Bear opens up. And what was it like when you started playing some of those holes you watched being built?
It was actually very fun to play it. And, I wasn't a very good golfer then. I'm not a very good golfer now. But you look at it and you say, oh, that looks easy. And guess what? It's not so easy. I think the thing that you would do as a golfer is the second or third time you play it, you can start understanding it better. And you know that I need to get over that bunker. I don't want to hit it through the fairway into the rough. There's a pond there, and what way the wind's going and stuff, just make sure you know your game, and it's okay.
And that's what keeps people coming back. And you always talk about having fun playing golf. So sounds like you have fun playing the Bear.
I do have fun. I enjoy playing the Bear. You always want to shoot your best and do your best game, right? So you don't always do that, but it's still a good time. And when you get those birdies, when you get the par, that's fun. And when you get the bogey or the double bogey or worse, still fun.
Well, if you get a birdie on the Bear, you have major bragging rights for a couple of months, I think.
Well, I think over the 25 years or 30 years that it's been here now, I think I've got a birdie on just about every hole.
Wow, that's an accomplishment. That means you've played it a lot.
Yeah, one birdie a year.
And then the Wolverine came along, and there's a third course.
Right.
So tell us about how that came about and your role in that one too.
Well, when the Wolverine started getting built, I was the superintendent on the Bear Golf Course, and I had been the superintendent probably 4, maybe 6 years, and I never really remember the dates because they just all keep going. But it was an opportunity to still be here and to see a golf course from start to finish. Now, I told you I was here during the Bear, but I didn't really get to see the construction part of it as much as the grass growing. Okay, now on the Wolverine, I was able to be part of the construction process as well. So I became the construction superintendent on the Wolverine golf course.
Wow, so you were there before the grass was being grown.
That's correct.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
So now you have 3 courses, and we mentioned Bill Newcombe in connection with Spruce Run, Jack Nicklaus in connection with the Bear, and now along comes Gary Player, who's involved with the Wolverine.
Right.
Did you meet him?
I did meet Mr. Player, Gary, actually a few times.
Oh, Gary, okay.
Yeah, no, we'll still call him Mr. Player. How's that?
Okay.
But I did get to meet him with his main designer on the project, Tim Freeland, and I was able to walk the golf course as it was being built. And Mr. Player showed up, I would say, maybe a couple times during construction. And then he had the grand opening and stuff like that. But that was really an interesting project to understand the design process and some of the concepts that designers put into golf courses that you may or may not know. You could probably find them in books or stuff like that. But to have weekly visits with a designer, a golf course designer, it was fantastic.
Well, now a designer comes along and sees how things are starting to take shape. Do they make changes?
Absolutely. Absolutely, they make changes. And God, I thought it looked good the way it was. No, we're just going to tweak this a little bit. And, oh, okay, that looks pretty good.
When do they decide to put the bunkers in?
I think a lot of times there's a concept on a piece of paper. So, they got the drawings on the paper, and the greens here, the yardage is all set based on the topography and everything that they did all this preliminary work with, and so the bunkers are kind of in place. So now you build the tees and you build the fairways and you build your where you want the green, and they just look at it and they can say, okay, well, let's put a bunker over here and let's get one over here and one over here.
And bunkers have different purposes, I guess.
Yes, they do. There are some bunkers that are I think they're called steering bunkers, where if there's like a dog leg to the left or the dog leg to the right, a designer will put a bunker kind of on the far side of the dog leg to let the golfers know that stay away from there, and you're going to have a shorter shot into the green. and then the strategies in front of the greens or behind the greens or to the sides of the greens. I think what it does is allows different pin positions. On the Wolverine golf course, there's the designer wanted tournament pin positions on every green. All right, so now you have these greens that are open on the approaches. So us, we can dub a shot and roll it onto the green. But there's also the pin position that's in behind a bunker. So those ones have strategy also.
And different strategies, so you have to come back and play it a different way the next time, something like that.
And that's correct. The pins are in different places, so hey, we don't have to hit over that bunker. We can roll it up again.
Well, you mentioned tournaments, and Grand Traverse Resort and Spa was the host for the Michigan Open for many years. What, 28, something like that?
It was 25 to 30. I don't know the exact number. Yes.
And so that had to have some interesting issues for people who are taking care of grass, like superintendents.
It does have interesting issues. It was a really fun time for myself and the staff members. It was one time when the spotlight was on the golf course, and it's just fun. You do things a little bit differently because you're preparing the golf course for the best golfers in the state, and they want to be challenged, but they also don't want to have it be so hard that it's unplayable
Or not fun.
I think even the guys who are out there golfing for a living, I gotta believe they also want to have fun while they play golf.
Well, in addition to the Michigan Open, Grand Traverse Resort and Spa hosted a national senior tournament. What was it like seeing some of those guys?
I thought it was fantastic. As I was growing up, I talked about working here on the golf course, but I also did watch golf on television. So you got the likes of Chichi Rodriguez and Don January, and God, there's probably so many that I forgot. But knowing that those guys were here and wanting to play golf and once again enjoying what they were doing, one of the guys actually took his fishing pole out to number 5 after the round and tried to catch some fish. So that was kind of cool. The most amazing thing about that, I thought, was the fact that it was on national television and CBS did the broadcast, and so they had to bring in probably a dozen different equipment trailers, and they set up electronic scoreboards, and they had a company come in and just rope off the entire golf course for gallery spectators. Yeah, that was fun.
And they have to somehow hide all that stuff behind green things, I guess. Yeah.
Well, we luckily we got a lot of property, so there was a nice spot for the equipment trailers that were in there. They also installed underground
Wires, cables?
Wires and cables for phones, microphones, and cameras.
Wow. So not only are the players on TV, the course is on TV. Did you see it? What did you think it looked like?
I saw my father actually taped it back with the old VHS 8-track type tape recorder. So I watched it, and I guess if I dug around, I might be able to find that tape again. Probably can't find a recorder for that tape, but I think the tape might be around. It was fun to see it on television, and I didn't get to see it on television, but it was fun to see the tape that my father had made for me.
Well, that's so cool to watch people you've seen before play, and the Michigan Open has had its share of really great players too. But what kind of feedback do you get from golfers who come through and play each of the different courses?
I think the main thing is that for the general public that plays, once again, I just hope that they have a good time. And the feedback I've gotten is, the courses are great, they're fantastic, and it's a good time for them. And I think that's what they're here for the most part.
Well, with the 3 courses here, I'm a new golfer. I'm staying at the resort. how do you advise me to choose which of the courses I'm going to play?
Well, I think it's based on the caliber of golfer for one, and what you kind of want to get out of it. Like, if I was a diehard golfer, you go play the Bear Golf Course because it is the Bear Golf Course. Like you said earlier, it's a famous golf course. It's been around for years. It's a challenge, all right. If I want an enjoyable round of golf, you play the Wolverine or the Spruce Run Golf Course. Now, a lot of people, because the Spruce Run Golf Course is kind of short, it's a very challenging golf course. And the fact that the fairways are narrow, the greens have more slope on them, and you miss the fairway, you got to grab yourself a chipper and get out from under those trees and back into play. So I think it's just a matter of what you want, and if you have the opportunity, play all three of them.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some people really care a whole lot about their scores, so you might steer those folks to the Wolverine.
I think the Wolverine is a little bit easier because the fairways are wider, and the greens don't. They have they're not all completely protected, so your shots, if you miss a shot, you can actually run it up onto the green, or you can get around the hazards without having to fly over them. So that's an opportunity there. You can find your golf ball in the fairway rather than in the rough sometimes. The trees are, they're also wide, so that makes it a little bit easier. I've had good scores on all three golf courses, and I've had bad scores on all three golf courses.
Is there one that women like better that you know of?
I would think it's probably the Spruce Run Golf Course or the Wolverine Golf Course, and once again, it's because the greens are not as protected on the approach shots. Sure. Like the Bear Golf Course, you pretty much have to fly them up and over either a bunker or a water hazard or something. And on the Wolverine and on the Spruce Run, you don't have to. You can hit it short, and then you can bump and run and putt in for a par.
And I remember the Wolverine with those wide fairways. You can hook it, you can slice it, and still be in the fairway.
That's correct. I was on number 7 with my buddies when the course first opened. I go, this fairway is impossible to miss. I missed it.
Well, Paul Galligan, Director of Golf and Grounds here at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa, one of the main things you've left with us is have fun. So thank you. We've enjoyed talking with you.
Good, and I hope you had fun doing this, because I did.
We did.